K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
All right, welcome everyone. I am the Sarge. I am with J Mac, but right now he's goat loving Jordan.
I gotta change that. I'm sorry, but yeah, go ahead.
That's all right. So, welcome back to the Morning Shot. We did take a quite a bit of a hiatus there, just because of the holidays and stuff that are happening to our lives. You know, sometimes we just need to get that taken care of. So, first of all, J Mac, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, doing very well. And man, this week has been kind of pretty quiet on the sports realm. But the biggest thing that probably happened, in my opinion, was probably the MLB Hall of Fame, where David Ortiz was elected to the Hall of Fame with, I believe it was like 77.6% chances of the vote. That puts Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and Curt Schilling out of the Hall of Fame. They got shut out because they passed their 10 years. What was your first initial thoughts of just David Ortiz, and what was your reaction with no one else being in there?
You know, it's one of those crazy things. But for me, Barry Bonds was already a three-time MVP before any of the steroid stuff, and Roger Clemens was already a three-time Cy Young winner before that. I think they should have been in the Hall of Fame already. I get that the old school guys were never going to vote them in, but I think it's time. It's the same with Pete Rose for me. Pete Rose needs to be in the Hall of Fame. It's time for that. Hopefully they'll get in with the Veterans Committee, and they will take care of them there. I thought they should have got in. So I don't think David Ortiz should have got in his first ballot. That one was, I think, just lack of nobody else to vote for is the reason he got in. It could be, but I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I think I agree with you on that one, but my thing is David Ortiz actually has been test positive for PEDs. And that's the issue I'm having with that. And also, you heard me complain about Edgar Martinez had to take his 10 years to wait to get into the Hall of Fame, but David Ortiz gets in right away. And I was actually talking to one of the voters of the Hall of Fame, and he's saying that the times have changed on how we vote, and it has proven. So with David Ortiz being elected, Roger Clemens should have been elected. Barry Bonds should be elected because they were allegedly to use. They never test positive. You just open the door wide open for A-Rod and Manny Ramirez to be in the Hall of Fame, and snubbing Pete Rose out. I don't understand how the Baseball Hall of Fame works anymore. I'm done trying to explain it on that one. Any more thoughts regarding that one?
No, I think that I think it just needs to change. That's all.
Yeah, I think the NFL Hall of Fame has a pretty good standards on the voting and so forth. But kind of going into the future with the MLB Hall of Fame for 2025, Ichiro is going to be on the ballot. Will be he an anonymous decision, 100% votes to be in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, if David Ortiz is a first ballot Hall of Famer and Ichiro doesn't get in on his first ballot, there's something wrong. There's definitely something wrong with the voting system.
I agree with that one as well. So kind of moving along, it's been kind of I would say a quiet day in the NFL, or a quiet week, I would say, in the NFL. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I mean, there was a few coach signings this week. A couple of teams found their coaches. A couple of the teams still looking. But all in all, it's all about the conference championship games, which take place tomorrow. And then we'll have a 2-week break until the Super Bowl. So that week in between is always quiet. You got the Pro Bowl, but I don't know that anyone even watches that anymore. So
Yeah, I can say I think I really stopped watching the Pro Bowl after it left Honolulu. And also, I like the Pro Bowl when they actually had those skill challenges. I think that was pretty fun. I think that was like in the mid '90s, I believe it was,
Yeah.
or something. So that
Yeah.
was pretty cool. Um, so with that, so for the signings on the coaches, there was one big coach that was named. I think was probably the biggest. That will probably have the biggest impact, and that is, I believe it was the Bills coordinator. He went to the Giants. The
Yep.
ball. What's your think on that signing right there?
Um. Well, he went from the AFC to the NFC, so he'll only have to play the Bills once every 4 years or something.
Yeah.
Which that's probably the best way to go if you're going to go to another team that's close like that. You only have to face your old team once every 4 years, and who knows if they'll make it 4 years as coach to ever have to play him or not. That's the other way to look at it. So, I think there's going to be coordinators getting lots of jobs. I think he's one that can. Thinks he's done with Josh Allen. I don't think that Daniel Jones is the talent that Josh Allen is. So I wouldn't look for that team to be anywhere near what the Bills were. But
I agree with you there. I think they're going to have to fix that, fix the quarterback situation for the Giants. But I think the ball is going to have a more success than Joe Judge did. I was surprised it took Joe Judge was like the last coach of out of all the firings to be fired. That one kind of surprised me on that one.
yeah, for sure.
Also, yeah, and also on big news, Big Ben Roethlisberger, he retired, and now there is strong reports that Tom Brady is going to retire. Are we going to have like one of the best quarterback carousels in NFL history?
We could, that's for sure, even with Big Ben being gone. And everyone wants to sit here and talk about Big Ben and the things that he didn't do or whatever. But everyone can pretend like he's not one of the best of all time. But the guy has more passing yards in his career than Aaron Rodgers. He has more passing
Mm-hmm.
yards in his career than, let's see, Jim Kelly. He's got more passing yards in his career than Troy Aikman. He's got more passing yards in his career than Philip Rivers. So you're talking about four guys right there that everyone is saying first ballot Hall of Famers. Two of them are already Hall of Famers, and he has more passing yards than they do. He's got more passing touchdowns than all of those guys. Well, not I'm sorry, not Rodgers, but he has more passing touchdowns than way more than Troy Aikman. He's got more than Terry Bradshaw, more than Joe Namath. The list goes on of the Hall of Famers. He's got more than and he threw less interceptions than six guys on that list also. So you're telling me Ben's not a first ballot Hall of Famer? Because I'll sit here and argue with you about it. He's one of the best ever at what he did, and so Roethlisberger deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
All right. So with that being said, does Philip Rivers, is he first ballot then? Because I know Big Ben has the rings, but Rivers doesn't.
I think Rivers gets in. I don't know if he gets on a first ballot or if it takes him a second one. I do think he's a Hall of Famer. I just don't know that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Okay. All right. And with you being a, let me say, a Packers fan, which we get along with that. I mean, it's okay that you're one of the evil teams, but you lost an offensive coordinator, Hackett. How is that going to impact the Packers, do you think?
I don't think we keep Rodgers with Hackett gone. I think that was part of the reason he stayed is because of the offense we ran. So I think that we could be in for a rebuild in Green Bay. It'd be the first time in a long time, but maybe it's what our franchise needs and our fans need to go through a little bit of tough times to realize that we've had it pretty good for the last 30 plus years.
All right. Well, I honestly think Jordan Love wasn't the correct choice for a quarterback because he wasn't really proven in college, and that same. So I think the Packers kind of shot themselves in the foot with no transition out there. But if you can have an offensive coordinator to keep Rodgers there, who would you pick?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Wow, that's a good one. Eric Bieniemy from Kansas
Really?
City. Yes, I think that he could rival Nathaniel Hackett.
Okay, I guess I can see that. Do you think he's going to become a head coach before that even is like something on the table?
As far as Bieniemy,
Yeah.
yeah, I think he's one of the top head coaching candidates in football. The
See,
guy's just look at what he's done. Yes, Mahomes is his quarterback, and I get that Mahomes is different. He's a different breed, and you can do a lot more things. But Bieniemy he still calls the plays. Like, he still puts it all out there for them to execute. Bieniemy is one of the top coordinators in football.
that is true. That is definitely true. But also, like, I read something because a lot of people are up in arms that he's not a head coach yet and so forth. And he can be a head coach, which I agree. But there was a quote that he said is that he's looking for the right fit for a head coach, and that's why he has not been a head coach as of yet. So, do you think that he's going to wait for Andy Reid to retire, then he gains the reins of the Kansas City Chiefs? Is that do you think that is a probable action that he'll actually do?
Yeah, I actually think he could do that. Josh McDaniels been doing that in New England for years, just waiting for Belichick to step away. So, definitely, I think we could be seeing that in a different. We see it in college a lot. You don't see it in the NFL a lot, but I think it could be changing. I think guys could be hanging around forever until coaches retire.
That is true. And one person that I like because I would say he is a defensive mastermind, Todd Bowles. I think he did great in Arizona when he was down there. And so I think he'll be a great coach. And everyone was telling me, but he failed in New York. So let's get the record straight for the New York Jets when Todd Bowles is there. There's only been 3 coaches that has a winning record with the New York Jets, and it's just a few and a handful that have actually taken to the playoffs. So I think it is the franchise, not the coach, on that one.
For sure.
And he was never a head coach in college. He was an assistant coach and backup coach, but he was never a head coach in college. So I'm throwing those out there right now for some of those because I'm debunking that today. So you made me into a believer of the Cincinnati Bengals since you picked them to go to the Super Bowl and represent the AFC on our Four Bros radio show. You kind of inspired me there, J-Mac. So I am picking the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think you're going to stick with that, aren't you?
You know, I am. I always said that they'd be the AFC representative. I don't think they can get past the Rams if they get to the Super Bowl. Here's the only reason I don't think they can get past the Rams is because let's face it, Cincinnati has a horrible offensive line. Their offensive line is probably up there with the worst in football. How do you get sacked 9 times in a divisional round playoff game? They still won, but Burrow was sacked 9 times. You do that against the Rams, you're not going to win. We saw that in Tampa Bay. Even though you know they let him on a comeback, he tried to come back, he tied the game, whatever. In the end, they still won, and it was because they put pressure on Brady all day long. So I do think that they'll be the AFC representative, but I don't think they're going to win. The Rams or the 49ers, just because the 49ers have great defense too. So those defenses, they definitely win you championships. And I think that that's where Cincinnati lacks a little bit on the defensive side and the offensive line. So
I 100% agree with you that defense wins championships and offense sells your tickets. That's how I see things, and so forth. And mean, I don't trust the 49ers making it to the Super Bowl. If they do, then I actually have a higher priority probably that the Cincinnati Bengals will actually win the Super Bowl if that does happen. But I'm taking the Rams because you got the combo of Von Miller, Aaron Donaldson, Jalen Ramsey, Eric Whittle came back. I mean, I got to go with the Rams going against the Bengals. Is that who you said earlier?
Yeah.
So what does that do with the Bengals coach? Because Zach Taylor, he was not getting a lot of respect the first 2 years as a Cincinnati Bengals coach, but now he's led the team to the playoffs, to the AFC Championship. But where does that put him now since he's done this?
Oh, Zach Taylor should be up there for Coach of the Year. He should be in that conversation.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I forget who I picked for my Coach of the Year, but if I could change it, it'll be Zach Taylor. Because I don't hear many critics anymore taking shots at Zach Taylor with that. So there's that. So J-Mac, do you want to take a shot at anything today or at anybody or anything since it's the morning shot?
I'm going to take a shot today. I'm going to take a shot at Rob Manfred in Major League Baseball. Man, get your act together. Get this. What do you need to do to get this CBA done? Let's get it done. Let's get baseball rolling. There's so many people out there that it's just part of their DNA to come home and there's a baseball game on every day from, April to October. And it's a big part of America. I mean, what's more American than baseball? I don't think there's anything that's more American than baseball. And we need to get rolling, man. So stop being so – we've seen this before. Worst commissioner in the major sports right now is Rob Manfred. Get your act together. Let's get this done. Let's get baseball going.
100%. I saw a picture the other day that was Rob Manfred in a clown suit, so I thought that was great. But I 100% agree with you on that one. He made a horrible decisions with during COVID time when they decided to play 60 games. Like he flip-flopped so many times with the Players Association with that, and I have to agree with you on that one. My shot is going to go to the Washington football team. The reason being is because they don't have a team name yet, but it has actually already been leaked on what their team name is, and that is the Commanders, which I can see. I can see it because I see how they were trying to present their teams. But how can you let that slip? I don't understand how you can let that slip. So for me, it has to be an insider job, and the NFL itself has done a horrible job investigating the Washington football team for what was happening inside the franchise. So that's the only reason John Gruden got fired, is because they were investigating the Washington football team and those emails show up. But we don't know what was going on with the Washington football team, and it's all been hush-hush. So shame on you, NFL, for not bringing forth on what was going on with the Washington football team. But there's sight in there's light at the end of the tunnel, because guess what? Your former employees are testifying towards Congress. So good luck with that, even though politics and sports should not mix. But that is my shot of the day. So we're going to end it today. Is a little short. J-Mac and I were up quite late last night we had a great interview with Nikki T, who is a public figure on Facebook on the Four Bros. If you haven't checked that out, check it out. It was a great time. I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Great time.
It was a good time. And tonight, I believe Sports Minute is on tonight, so check that out. And also check out Between the Ropes on Sunday. And also Sunday morning, there's a special morning tailgate. I think there's trivia involved from what I heard. So good luck to you on that one, J-Mac.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm with J-Mac, the bearded one. I'm the Sarge. This was the Morning Shot. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.